This book, it starts by laying out this idea of this subconscious mind as a treasure house within us, right? And
Mm.
so it explains the difference between our conscious mind, the part of us that makes decisions and plans, versus the subconscious, which seems to work on a deeper level, driven by feelings and emotions. I mean, I know this is familiar territory for a lot of us, but it gets a lot more interesting.
I think what's really fascinating here is that the book emphasizes that the subconscious doesn't actually judge or question. It just simply absorbs everything we feed it. So, like, this lack of judgment is why it can be so easy for limiting beliefs to take root. We need to be really mindful of the stories we're telling ourselves.
So it's like we're constantly planting seeds in this subconscious garden. I think that's a really powerful analogy that the book uses.
Yes, and it highlights how those seeds, which are our thoughts, actually grow into the results we experience in our lives. So if we're constantly planting seeds of self-doubt, it's no surprise if we struggle to achieve our goals.
It's like you get out what you put in. So this idea of the subconscious as fertile ground for our thoughts, it's not exactly new though, right? I mean, the book actually talks about how ancient cultures recognize this connection too.
Oh, absolutely. It mentions how, ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, they practice techniques to tap into the power of the mind for healing and self-improvement. And even religious texts throughout history have emphasized the power of faith, which, you could see that as aligning our conscious beliefs with the power of our subconscious.
Yeah, so it's not just ancient wisdom though, right? The book goes into some really specific techniques for actually reprogramming our subconscious. So things like affirmations, visualization, even relaxation techniques. Have you found any of these particularly helpful in your own life?
Well, they all work in different ways, but the core principle is to consciously influence our subconscious mind. So affirmations, for example, there are those positive statements we repeat to ourselves, almost like planting those positive seeds directly into the soil of our subconscious. And I've seen people make real progress with this, especially when it comes to building self-confidence.
Yeah. What about visualization? I feel like that's another really interesting one. It's like creating a mental movie of what we want to achieve. The book gives this example of someone with stage fright, and instead of dwelling on the fear, they could visualize themselves giving a confident, engaging presentation, right? It's like giving their subconscious a blueprint for success.
Exactly. And I think what's important is that we're not just passively daydreaming here. We're actively engaging our imagination and our emotions, which can have a powerful effect on our subconscious.
Yeah. And the book also emphasizes the importance of relaxation techniques.
Yeah.
What's the connection between, relaxation and the subconscious mind? I'm curious.
Well, when our minds are constantly racing, it's like trying to plant seeds in a hurricane. It's difficult for anything to take root. But when we create a sense of calm and quiet through practices like meditation or deep breathing, we're creating the perfect conditions for those positive seeds to flourish.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So we're not just at the mercy of our subconscious, right? We can actually use these techniques to work with it. I think that's a really empowering idea for our listeners to consider. But isn't this idea of controlling our subconscious a bit oversimplified? What about, external factors that we can't control?
That's a great point. And I think the book isn't suggesting that we have absolute control over everything that happens to us. But what we can control is our inner world, our thoughts, our beliefs, and how we respond to challenges. And that in itself can have a huge impact on our experiences.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. It's about taking responsibility for our inner landscape, even if we can't always control the weather, right? I'm also really intrigued by how the book dives into the subconscious as this key player in success.
Yeah, and what I find so fascinating is how it argues that success isn't just about luck or circumstances, it's about aligning our conscious goals with the power of our subconscious. It's like we have this incredible force within us that we can tap into to achieve our dreams, but it takes more than just wishing and hoping.
So it's about taking those concrete steps to align our conscious and subconscious minds. What are some of the key things the book highlights for creating that alignment?
Well, for starters, it emphasizes the importance of setting clear intentions. It's not enough to just vaguely want something. We need to define our goals with clarity and focus. And that goes hand in hand with cultivating a positive mindset. If we're constantly doubting ourselves or focusing on what we don't want, it's going to be so much harder to achieve our goals.
Right. So it sounds like a huge part of it is about shifting our internal dialogue from like, I can't do this to I'm capable of achieving this.
Exactly. And surrounding ourselves with supportive people who believe in us can also be incredibly helpful. It's like having cheerleaders who encourage us to keep going even when we face setbacks. And, the book doesn't just stop at what we traditionally think of as success.
Yeah, that's true. It delves into some other really fascinating topics like overcoming fear, staying young in spirit, and even tapping into what it calls infinite intelligence.
It's like our subconscious is this wellspring of wisdom that we often overlook.
Yeah. I'm curious, how does the book define this idea of infinite intelligence? It sounds a little abstract.
Well, it describes it as this boundless source of creativity, insight, and knowledge that we all have access to. It's not about being a genius in the traditional sense. It's about tapping into that inner wisdom that can guide us towards solutions, breakthroughs, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world.
Okay, so it's not just about achieving material success or overcoming obstacles, right? It's about connecting with a deeper level of wisdom and potential within ourselves.
Precisely. And I think that's what makes exploring the power of the subconscious so exciting. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's a process of unlocking hidden potential and realizing that we are capable of so much more than we often believe.
Yeah. It sounds like this is where things get really interesting. How does the book suggest we can access this infinite intelligence within ourselves?
It actually recommends some of the techniques we've discussed already, like meditation and visualization as ways to quiet the conscious mind and allow those deeper insights to emerge. But it also emphasizes the importance of paying attention to our intuition, those gut feelings or hunches that seem to come out of nowhere. Those might actually be messages from our subconscious, offering guidance or solutions.
Okay, so instead of dismissing those intuitive nudges, we should actually be paying attention to them.
Exactly. They might be trying to tell us something important.
Hmm. This is making me think about how much we might be missing out on by not paying attention to our subconscious.
hmm
I'm really curious to see what else the book has to say about this more. But I think we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more insights from The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. All right, welcome back. I'm really fascinated by this whole infinite intelligence idea. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Well, I think it's more common than we realize. Those moments where, like, a solution just pops into your head, seemingly out of nowhere, or you suddenly feel inspired to create something new, that's your subconscious at work, tapping into this vast well of creativity and insight.
So it's not just about, logic and reasoning. It's about trusting our intuition and those kind of flashes of insight.
Exactly. And the book even suggests that some of the greatest discoveries and inventions throughout history came about through these intuitive leaps. Think about Archimedes and his eureka moment in the bathtub, or how Einstein supposedly came up with the theory of relativity after visualizing himself riding on a beam of light.
Wow. It's like our subconscious is this hidden genius just waiting for the right moment to shine through.
Yeah.
But the book also talks about the subconscious's role in more everyday challenges like overcoming fear.
Yeah. What I find really interesting is how the book frames fear. It's not something to be avoided or suppressed. It's something to be understood and faced head on.
Okay, so it's not about trying to eliminate fear altogether. It's more about changing our relationship with it.
Exactly. When we avoid our fears, they tend to grow stronger and they kind of control us. But when we confront them, we often find that they're not as scary as we imagined. It's like shining a light on them and realizing they're just shadows.
So facing our fears can actually help us break free from their grip. What are some of the specific techniques the book suggests for overcoming fear?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of understanding the root of our fears. What are the beliefs or past experiences that are fueling them? Once we understand where they're coming from, we can start to challenge those beliefs and reframe our perspective. It also talks about using visualization techniques to imagine ourselves successfully navigating those fears. So, for example, if someone is afraid of public speaking, they could visualize themselves giving a confident and engaging presentation, feeling calm and in control.
So instead of dwelling on the worst case scenario, we're creating a mental movie of ourselves overcoming the challenge.
Exactly. And the more we rehearse those positive scenarios in our minds, the more we're programming our subconscious to believe that we can handle it.
While I see the potential in that, I also wonder if it's really that easy to just reprogram our subconscious. What about those really deeply ingrained fears that we've carried with us for years?
Well, it's definitely not a quick fix. It takes consistent effort and a willingness to challenge those deeply held beliefs. But the book argues that our subconscious minds are incredibly adaptable. And with the right tools and techniques, we can shift those old patterns and create new, more empowering ones.
Hmm. It's encouraging to know that we're not stuck with those old fears forever.
Absolutely. And the book even suggests that overcoming one fear can create a ripple effect, making it easier to face other challenges in our lives. It's like building a muscle of courage.
Yeah. I love that analogy. It's not just about conquering one specific fear. It's about developing a mindset that allows us to approach life with more confidence and resilience.
And, the book doesn't just stop at overcoming fear. It also delves into this fascinating idea of staying young in spirit regardless of our age.
It's like choosing to see the world with fresh eyes, no matter how many birthdays we've celebrated.
Exactly. And the book argues that youthfulness isn't just about physical appearance, right? It's a state of mind. It's a way of approaching life with curiosity, joy, and a willingness to embrace new experiences.
It makes me think of those people who seem to radiate a youthful energy even in their later years. It's like they've found a way to tap into a fountain of youth within themselves.
Yeah, and the book suggests that we all have access to that fountain. It's about cultivating a playful spirit, nurturing our passions, and surrounding ourselves with people who uplift us. It also emphasizes the importance of staying active, both physically and mentally.
So it's not about trying to stop the clock, but about embracing each stage of life with a sense of wonder and enthusiasm.
Precisely. It's about focusing on what we can control, which is our attitude and our actions, rather than dwelling on the things that we can't.
I'm really starting to see how all of these concepts from, harnessing our subconscious to overcoming fear and staying youthful in spirit were all interconnected. It's about cultivating a mindset that allows us to live our lives to the fullest.
Absolutely. It's about tapping into that infinite potential that resides within each of us.
That brings me back to this idea of infinite intelligence. I'm curious, how does the book suggest we can access this hidden well of wisdom within ourselves?
Well, it actually recommends some of the techniques we discussed earlier, like meditation and visualization, as ways to quiet the conscious mind and allow those deeper insights to emerge. But it also emphasizes the importance of paying attention to our intuition. Those, gut feelings or hunches that seem to come from nowhere, those might actually be messages from our subconscious offering guidance or solutions.
So instead of dismissing those intuitive nudges, we should actually pay attention to them.
Exactly. They might be trying to tell us something important. And the book also suggests that we can actually train ourselves to become more intuitive by practicing mindfulness and paying attention to those subtle whispers from our subconscious.
It sounds like it takes a certain level of trust to believe that those intuitive nudges are actually leading us in the right direction.
It definitely does. And I think that's where the idea of faith comes in. It's about having faith in ourselves and our inner wisdom in the power of the universe to support us on our journey.
I think this idea of faith is really important because, it can be so easy to get caught up in self-doubt and overthinking. But the book seems to be suggesting that we need to trust that inner voice even when it doesn't make, logical sense.
Exactly. And it's not about blindly following every whim or impulse, right? It's about developing a discerning intuition, learning to distinguish between those fleeting thoughts and those deeper, more resonant feelings that come from a place of wisdom and truth. It's like learning to listen to the wise counsel of our own inner guide.
This is making me think about how much we might be missing out on by not paying attention to our subconscious. I'm really curious to see what else the book has to say about this.
Well, one of the things that really resonated with me is how the book emphasizes the importance of living in alignment with our values and passions.
It's like finding that sweet spot where our inner world and our outer world are in harmony.
Precisely. When we're living in alignment, it creates a sense of flow and ease. Things just seem to fall into place more effortlessly.
And the book suggests that our subconscious can actually help us achieve this alignment.
Exactly. It's like our subconscious is this inner compass, always guiding us towards what truly resonates with our soul.
But sometimes it can feel like we're getting conflicting messages from our conscious and subconscious minds. What happens when our conscious desires and our deeper subconscious beliefs are at odds with each other?
Well, that's where the work comes in. It's about becoming aware of those conflicting beliefs and using the techniques that we've discussed, like affirmations and visualization, to reprogram those subconscious patterns that are no longer serving us.
So it's not just about wishing for things to be different. It's about taking active steps to align our inner world with our outer desires.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that this is an ongoing process. you know? It's not about achieving some perfect state of alignment and then coasting. It's about continually refining and adjusting our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions as we evolve and grow.
This has been such a rich conversation. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this fascinating topic. What are some of your final takeaways from the power of your subconscious mind?
Well, for me, it's a reminder that we have far more control over our lives than we often realize, you know? We're not just at the mercy of our circumstances or our past experiences. We have this incredible power within us to shape our reality.
It's empowering to know that we're not just passive passengers in our own lives. We can actually choose to become active creators of our own destinies.
And the more we understand how our subconscious mind works, the more effectively we can harness its power to achieve our goals, overcome our fears, and live more fulfilling lives.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. I'm already feeling inspired to start paying more attention to my own subconscious. I think one of the most impactful takeaways for me is this idea that we're not just limited to our conscious thoughts and efforts. There's this whole other realm of potential within us just waiting to be tapped into.
It's almost like we have this secret superpower that we're only just beginning to discover. And the more we learn about the subconscious mind, the more we realize just how much it influences every aspect of our lives, from, our health and well-being to our relationships to our success.
It makes me wonder if we've been underestimating ourselves all along. What if we're capable of achieving far more than we ever thought possible, simply by harnessing the power of our subconscious?
I think that's a very real possibility. And the book provides some really practical techniques that we can start implementing right away to make that happen.
Like what, specifically? What stood out to you as the most actionable takeaways?
Well, for starters, the book emphasizes the importance of paying attention to our self-talk. The stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we hold about ourselves, all of that has a profound impact on our subconscious mind. So if we want to create positive change in our lives, we need to start by shifting those negative thought patterns and replacing them with more empowering ones.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about actively challenging those limiting beliefs that might be holding us back.
Exactly. And the book suggests that affirmations can be a really powerful tool for this. By repeating positive statements about ourselves, we can literally reprogram our subconscious mind to believe those things.
I've tried affirmations in the past, but I sometimes struggle to believe them. Do you have any tips for making them more effective?
I think the key is to find affirmations that truly resonate with you. Don't just choose generic ones that you find online. Take some time to reflect on what you really want to believe about yourself, and then craft affirmations that feel authentic and inspiring to you.
So it's about personalizing them, making them meaningful to our own individual journeys.
Exactly. And another tip is to really feel the emotions behind the affirmations as you're saying them. It's not just about repeating the words, it's about embodying the feeling of what you're affirming.
That makes sense. It's about aligning our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs to create a powerful force for change. The book also talks about visualization as a key technique for working with the subconscious mind. How exactly does that work?
So visualization is all about creating a vivid mental image of what you want to achieve. It's like creating a mental movie of yourself, successfully navigating a challenge, achieving a goal, or simply, feeling happy and fulfilled.
Okay, so we're not just passively daydreaming, we're actively engaging our imaginations to create a blueprint for success.
Exactly. And the more we rehearse those positive scenarios in our minds, the more we're programming our subconscious to believe that they're possible.
But isn't there a risk of getting caught up in fantasies and losing touch with reality?
I think the key is to use visualization as a tool for motivation and inspiration, not as a way to escape reality. It's about creating a clear vision of what we want and then taking concrete steps to make it happen.
So it's about balancing our inner world with our outer actions.
Precisely. And the book emphasizes that visualization is most effective when it's combined with action. It's not about just sitting back and waiting for things to magically manifest. It's about using visualization to fuel our motivation and then taking consistent steps toward our goals.
So it's like we're planting the seeds in our subconscious garden through visualization and then nurturing those seeds through our actions.
That's a great analogy. And the book also highlights the importance of relaxation techniques for creating the optimal conditions for those seeds to grow.
We talked about this earlier, about how relaxation allows those positive seeds to take root. But what are some practical ways that we can incorporate relaxation into our daily lives?
Oh, there's so many different techniques to choose from. Meditation is a great one, as is deep breathing exercises. Even spending time in nature, listening to calming music, or taking a warm bath can help to quiet the mind and reduce stress.
So it's about finding what works for us, what helps us to create that sense of inner peace and stillness.
Exactly, and the book suggests that even just a few minutes of relaxation each day can make a huge difference.
It's like we're giving our subconscious mind a chance to recharge and reset so it can operate at its best.
And one of the things I found really interesting is how the book emphasizes the interconnectedness of our minds and bodies.
We often talk about them as separate entities, but they're really two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. And the book suggests that when we take care of our physical health through things like, exercise, nutrition, and sleep, it actually has a positive impact on our mental and emotional well-being as well.
So it's like a holistic approach to well-being. It's about taking care of ourselves on all levels, physical, mental, and emotional.
Absolutely. And the book even suggests that our thoughts and beliefs can actually influence our physical health.
Whoa, that's a pretty powerful concept. So if we're constantly dwelling on negative thoughts or fears, it could actually manifest as physical symptoms.
The book certainly suggests that this is a possibility. It talks about the placebo effect, where, people experience real physical changes simply because they believe that something will help them.
So our beliefs can literally shape our reality, even on a physical level.
It's quite remarkable, and it highlights the importance of cultivating a positive mindset and focusing on what we want rather than what we fear.
It's like we're empowering our subconscious minds to work for us rather than against us.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. We have far more control over our lives than we often realize.
It's inspiring to think that we have this incredible power within us to create the lives we desire.
And the more we learn about the subconscious mind, the more effectively we can harness that power to achieve our goals, overcome our fears, and live more fulfilling lives.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about. I'm already feeling inspired to start paying more attention to my own subconscious and to explore some of these techniques for myself.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey into the incredible world of your subconscious mind. There's so much to discover, so much potential to unlock.
It's like we've been given this amazing gift, this hidden superpower, and now it's up to us to learn how to use it wisely.
And if your subconscious mind could grant you one wish, what would it be? And what seeds can you start planting today to make that wish a reality?
That's a great question to ponder. It really makes you think about what truly matters to you and what you want to create in your life. And even though our deep dive is ending, your exploration of your subconscious mind is just beginning.
Keep those seeds of positivity, self-belief, and limitless potential growing in your subconscious garden. You never know what incredible things you might manifest.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of the subconscious mind. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep unlocking the amazing power within you.